The Congressional Black Caucus, of which you chair, sent a letter that highlighted the importance of the dam in providing electricity to the region. However, Egypt has been critical of the dam, warning that it could reduce its access to fresh water and make agricultural use unusable for the people around there. So do you think there's a resolution to this conflict that will satisfy all three countries?
Well, that's difficult for me to say if there's a resolution. The point of our letter and my perspective is that I think it's important to let the three countries resolve it themselves. I was worried when the U.S. became involved, and I thought that that could just complicate things, considering that we have very different relationships with each country.
That's right. And speaking of the U.S.'s involvement, the U.S. Department of Treasury has been playing a mediation role between the three countries. Do you think the U.S. has played a constructive role, and has it been impartial so far?
Well, I think it depends on the country's perspective you're looking at. I think from the Ethiopian perspective, they were very concerned. But there's a more fundamental problem here. And the fundamental problem is the Trump administration and the Trump administration's real lack of a strategy and a perspective on the African continent. And so that then there's not a level of trust and relationship there. And so I don't think it's a good situation to begin with when it comes to the Trump administration trying to broker anything in Africa.
Egypt has also been referencing a colonial era. They've cited that colonial era law many times. This time is an awakening all across the world of revisiting of colonial remnants.
Yes.
And so any thoughts on that?
Yes, I think that the world is going through the same thing, and that I'm proud to say, probably emanated through the protests here in the United States. The death, the torturous, slow murder of George Floyd certainly raised the issue of human rights in the United States. I was very grateful and proud that all 54 African countries went to the United Nations and raised this issue. I thought that was good. And it's caused it's caused people in Europe to look at their roots for slavery and colonialism. And so I think that that's a good thing. In the United States, we're still fighting the Civil War. And the idea that we actually had statues and other things that enshrined people who tried to destroy the country, it makes no sense. And they were dedicated white supremacists. So we've had this soul-searching time in the United States, and I think that other countries are mirroring that. And so looking at colonial laws, I know some countries are looking at even the names of streets and buildings. And I think that's right. I think that's part of evolution and part of moving forward.